Welcome to another Quantum Conversation. I'm Loren Gailey, and I invite you to sit back as we enter the quantum realm, that space of the greater part of you. It is your connection to infinite possibilities, infinite potential, and infinite mastery. Okay. In our session today of our Quantum Conversations Energy Healing Summit series, we are with an intuitive, multidimensional channel, Lori Spagna, who's here to share with us on how we can live our soul's highest fulfillment. This is according to our divine agenda. And it's all about elevating your energy, your vibration, intuition, and consciousness. Let's welcome Lori Spagna. Hi, Lori. Welcome.
Hello, Loren. It's so great to be with you here today. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us because the work that you do is multidimensional and you bring information forward that truly assists us. And so today we're going to talk more about energy healing and what needs to be done. So, can you give us a definition of what it means to do energy work, energy heal, and what gets in the way? What creates the blockages of the energy? That's a big question, but that's a great place to start.
Yeah, well, let's start with what is the energy and what is energy healing. And I know your community is aware of this, but everything's energy. And even energy is consciousness. Everything's consciousness. So all of us, the whole of of who we are is consciousness. And that consciousness is energetic. It's all energy. So our job is to bring, in a sense, in this reality, if we're choosing it, if we want to live our highest fulfillment and really elevate into best versions of ourselves, we're going to be coming into alignment with our source. And that source, whether we call it God or the divine or the infinite or the all that is, or that source is consciousness. So we're using our consciousness, our free will, and our energy to willingly align ourselves with that source by working with energy, which is all that is, and by the healing part is clearing and resolving whatever energetic structure, and we'll go into this more, is interfering, and that's what we perceive to be our blocks with that conscious alignment with our source. So let me say this in an easier way, a more simplistic way, just to really drive it home, is that we are consciousness. We can label ourselves as women, men, children, adults, intuitives, animal communicators, carpenters, painters, etc. But in truth, what we are is consciousness. And that consciousness vibrates energetically. It's energy that's vibrating at a frequency, which is like a speed. So the slower the speed, or the denser or heavier we vibrate at, the more pain and suffering overall that we have, the more struggle we have in our life, the less we see and perceive ourselves as the magnificence that we truly are, the less we have experiences that are to our highest liking, right? We suffer with struggles with worry or fear or doubt or frustration or not enoughness, not good enough, I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy enough, I'm not valuable enough, all those things. And on the other end of the spectrum, if we're raising our vibration, coming more into alignment by working with energy and clearing out and resolving all those issues, we come more and more into our highest fulfillment. We start experiencing more and more happiness, health, joy, well-being. We feel more than good enough. We start living in accordance with our soul's true divine agenda. We're more healthy and wealthy in many ways, not just materialistically, and we feel more fulfilled. So that's my brief explanation. Does that make sense?
Absolutely, it does. And it gives us the task at hand. And So when we say energy work then is really paying attention to what the way that we're feeling, because if we're feeling down, despair, sadness, guilt, shame, jealousy, all of that, that's something that has gotten in the way. And what do you attribute that to? Is that our mind, our thought? And so
Yeah.
really where the heart needs to take over. So when you say align with source, then would you say that happens through the heart?
Well, I would say what we don't always realize is we are, because we are consciousness, and we've been identifying as these personality self aspects, and those personality self aspects are often called ego, which I don't even subscribe to that idea that you have ego. What I subscribe to is that we have energetic structure in our multidimensional field. So we perceive ourselves through the lens of the person, and we have a body, and we have all these behavioral patterns and belief systems and emotions, as you mentioned, and feelings. That's all energetic structure. So if we're feeling some of the things you mentioned, such as depression or sadness or grief or sorrow or jealousy, any of those things, those are energy. All that stuff is energy. It's not the truth of who we are. And we don't realize, like, even loneliness. So many people have felt loneliness or any, grief, sadness, or stuck in the grief of something. Maybe we've lost something or suffered some kind of trauma. Like, all of that is trauma. It's all trauma, some form of trauma. And we don't label it as trauma because, you don't realize necessarily, most of us don't realize necessarily that if we're feeling lonely, it may be linked to being abandoned from our childhood or from growing up as a black sheep, for example. Or if we're feeling guilt, it may be linked to somewhere where guilt was used in this or some other lifetime, parallel reality, to control us or to get us to do something. Or if we're feeling selfish, or if we're feeling, you mentioned jealousy, it's some part of us that doesn't realize that we have that potential within us to achieve or accomplish something that is our soul's calling, right? All of that kind of stuff. It's all some form of trauma. Regardless of whether we label it as trauma, it's energetic structure, energetic debris, and it's stored through our multidimensional field. Now, what do I mean by that? We're not just we're definitely not our brains. The brain is a tool. We're not just our minds. The mind is an aspect of consciousness. We are not our emotions. Emotions are energy, and they're in our energetic field. They're also stored energetically, even though they're not supposed to be, in our chakra systems, in our meridians, in all of the aspects of our physicality. They can get stored in there. We are not our fears, worries, doubts, etc. A lot of that stuff can be stored in parts of the brain, such as the amygdala or the hippocampus. So, and even beyond our mental body, which is an aspect of our multidimensional body, even beyond our emotional body, which is an aspect of our multidimensional body, even beyond our auric field, which is part of our light body. It's not the same, but it's part of our body. There's all kinds of energetic debris that we're not fully conscious of.
Yeah.
That's what needs to be cleared and resolved.
Okay.
Not hard.
It's not hard, but and so if we're not even aware it's there, let's talk about how we begin to notice. I would say anybody who's still triggered by things, that is because something's there. The energetics are off. So then what is your process for clearing that? How to identify it and then clear it?
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of ways to identify it. Definitely, you mentioned triggers.
Yeah.
That's a great way. Anytime you're triggered or in some form of reactivity or in some kind of resistance or struggle dynamic, like the rubber band in your life, the push pull, anywhere that shows up, anywhere where there is any form of like pain or not even just physical pain necessarily, although that's definitely a cause effect of this kind of stuff, physical issues, emotional pain, mental, any kind of pain or suffering that you're in, any kind of discord, money issues. And then you also want to notice when you're looking to identify it, what are the repeat patterns in your life? Like, because we're all playing Groundhog Day to some degree or another if we don't realize it. So if you can really start to take an honest reflection, step back in your life and see where the hamster wheel Groundhog Day is playing out, because that's where we get into behavioral patterns. Or, you know, 2008, you had money issues because there was an economic challenge on earth. And then again, 2012, you had, or maybe 2020 or whatever it is, you had economic issues or challenges financially. If you're in a fear that you're not going to have enough money, like those are patterns, right? So you want to look at your life where that is. And the reason, I just really need to say this, the reason we do this, and this is like this is the stuff that's referred to as shadow work. The reason we do this is really there's two core reasons. Number one, so that we can be free and happy and fulfilled and live our best lives. I mean, that's what we're here for. So we don't have to go through pain and suffering anymore. The pain and suffering is gold. It's not nourishment, it's food for your shadow work so that you can live your highest fulfillment. That's the first reason. And your highest fulfillment includes, by the way, your soul's true divine agenda, which we'll talk about. But the second reason we do that is so that we don't have to keep repeating those things over and over again, so that we can get off the hamster wheel of life and start creating new. Because our new paradigm on earth is no longer about perpetuating and recreating the old over and over again. Our new paradigm that we're all leveling up into with our free will choice is where we get to really create entirely new. We become no longer explorers of all that is, we become pioneers, creating something entirely new.
I love that. We're so ready for it. All right. So then that is the work. And so it may seem a little boring to people, like, oh, energy healing just is not exciting. But we need to get excited about it, because on the flip side is that divine agenda that awaits us. And we're clouded if we can't get there. So once we identify a pattern, um, how do you clear, like for yourself, how do you trace the energy so that you can clear it and resolve it?
Yeah. Well, let me just say one thing before I get to how do you clear it is, the whole idea that it's a little could be a little boring is actually, I mean, to me, I guess we all have our viewpoints of what's boring or what's exciting, but
Mundane, let's.
almost like, yeah, or mundane. What I want to say is that about that is that it's sort of like playing the long game. You have a whole lifetime, this lifetime. It's a precious gift. This life is a gift for us. It's such a gift. And however long any person has, that gift, you're the gift that you're unwrapping, right? And so the idea that energy work is mundane, it's sort of more like saying, well, you're not seeing the gift, in a sense, not you, but people who might perceive it that way. All the gifts that are revealed through this kind of energy work. And let me say, energy work takes whatever daily life struggles there are and transforms them not only into our greatest gifts, but reveals our greatest virtues, reveals our most benevolent best self, aligns us with our happiness and fulfillment. So the energy work itself, the experience of doing energy work itself, is actually deeply, I mean, it's very blissful, right? It feels good, better than good. It feels, it's always, it feels great. And not just like feel in a sort of physical, emotional way, although definitely those things, but it just reveals the greatness that we are. So that always feels great. We always, when we're going through energy work, through the experience of it, when it's done properly, there's no resistance there. There's just it's like a petals of roses just, opening up. So I think when people might say it's mundane, it's because they're identifying with the shadow work and the digging part.
Yes.
That part seems mundane, but that's what I mean is your soul's divine agenda. You can't avoid that. That stuff's going to happen to you. No, you're going to have those struggles no matter what in life, unless you're doing the energy work, which is going to lessen their control over you, those kinds of struggles and challenges. So anyway, I hope that makes sense. But
Yeah.
in regard, yeah, in regard to your question, like how do we do it? And there's lots of different ways. For me, I have really learned and devoted my life to working with energy. So there's a lot of different ways that I do it. I teach people to work with energy. But we when my process, one of my core processes, number one is working with the DNA, because everything that we need to address in this lifetime and all of our greatest gifts, of course, are stored in our DNA, waiting for us to reveal. Like we heal and resolve what's the blockers, and then we awaken and reveal all of the gifts. But also, yes, through the Sacred Heart Center, as you mentioned, for sure, because our core pillar here, this is like our core pillar is all of our major energy centers that are often referred to as chakras. Most people, these chakra centers are quite blocked. They get just blocked with stuff. It's kind of like flossing your teeth. If you don't do it every day or frequently, there's a buildup, right? So those have to get cleared. And I teach a very specific process that's my unique technique about activating all of those chakras and really clearing, healing, and resolving whatever are blocking in there, awakening this core pillar, working with all the different brainwave frequencies, and then dropping in through the Sacred Heart Center. In the Sacred Heart Center, we think of it as just a physical heart, but it is a real portal. It's why that chakra center is the only chakra center of all the chakra centers that is known to have two colors, right? So the green represents our connection to the earth, and the pink or magenta represents our connection to the higher realms of love and beyond. So we have to learn different processes, and they're not something we can learn overnight, but they're very simple and very easy and actually really enjoyable to do.
I want to ask more about this divine plan. Right now, so many, especially light workers and more of the collective, is waking up to this notion of their soul and something more to do, something more to be in service. And that is our divine agenda, right? So so then doing the energy work, when we're talking about raising our vibration, that's exactly what we're doing, is saying do the energy work. So if we're here to raise the vibration of the planet, it's here to assist everyone in doing this, right? In stepping into their true love, source light that they're here to radiate. So I will leave it to you how we want to do. If you want to do a little mini process right now, and then we talk about the divine agenda. What do you think makes more sense?
Yeah. Well, let's talk about the divine agenda. And then, yeah, we can do a process. We can do that more towards a little bit when we are ready, when we're done chatting. But the divine agenda, you're right. The soul has an agenda. This is how I see it. And I know not everybody necessarily has the same definitions, but to me, the higher self aspect of who we are is the aspect of us that is beyond the limitations of the physical world. And the higher self aspect sees all the perspectives, is still totally connected to us, part of who we are, But that higher self aspect is like, ah, this is the direction this soul is meant to go in. This is the direction. Or if this free will choice of this human being chooses this, this is where they might go or land, or if they choose this. So the higher self has like, 360 view and knows itself as part of source creator, but is not the whole of source creator, and knows itself as the individuation of the personality, the person, right? So it's giving guidance. It's when it's able to. The soul's agenda is, here's what this human is coming into this physical earthly world to experience, to learn, to heal, to resolve, to address. Here are the themes that this person is going to be working with so they can grow into the richness and fullness of who they are. Here's the karmic stuff they want to resolve, which karma is not punishment, of course. Karma is just unresolved issues. And here's the dharmic stuff they want to bring through, which is like exactly what you're saying, their service, their contribution that's going to lead to their highest fulfillment. Because when they start making this contribution, their joy, right? Because the fastest road to joy is through service and contribution, right? When we are really fulfilling our soul's agenda, we are so deeply fulfilled because we're like that. It's not about work anymore. It's about the fulfillment of the soul's agenda. And so these aspects of us, our higher self, our personality with all our free will choice in this physical world, our soul's agenda, are all working together to kind of bring us into unification with our source. And of course, we have teams. We have other members of our teams. We have angels and guides and masters and teachers and loved ones, and more reveal themselves to us as we come into more alignment. So I just think that's important to understand because, when, for example, you mentioned earlier depression, or we were talking about different, emotions, when we're out of alignment, those are the things we experience. Right. So, but as we come into alignment, we work with our higher self aspect, we work with our team. The more and more we're doing the inner work, the more our intuitive gifts come online. We start being able to follow guidance. We start recognizing our team members. We start working more wholly and completely with the angelics, with the guidance that we have and the teams that we have. We start really unifying with that soul's agenda, and our joy comes through because we start really being of service. We start to know our divine mission and plan. We're no longer just, see, when people are searching, a lot of times people are searching for their mission and their plan, and that blockage they're feeling, they don't know what it is. It's because they haven't done usually a lot of the clearing that they need to do of this energy that we're talking about. By the way, one other piece on this, and then we'll move on. Your mission and plan, your soul's divine agenda, a lot of it is stored in the root chakra center. Not all of it, but a lot of it. It's also stored in the DNA. So when these chakra centers are cleared and resolved, and the debris is cleared out, more of the agenda becomes more known, right? Because that's that root chakra at the base of the spine is part of your survival, from surviving to thriving. That's part of what's in there, or what's coded in there, but it can't be revealed to a person if it's filled with debris. See? So again, another reason why we do this kind of energy work. Same
Thank you.
thing is with the DNA. I said that one already, so I don't need to repeat it, but
Well, I love it because it really shows the importance of it. Um, the energy, it's not bypassing. We're not bypassing
yes.
this stuff and saying, oh, I feel good. We really have to trace it and do this energy work. So I really love that. And so as we develop our intuition, and working with guides, I know so many want to do that. And sometimes people feel that their guides have left them. So maybe you want to share a little bit more on this. How do we develop our intuition? How has that worked for you? I know hindsight
Yeah.
is 2020. Experience always helps us. But is there a way that we can know more firmly and solidly when our intuition is talking, and how do we trust that
Mm,
intuition?
mm,
111%.
mhm. Well, let me say first, I have I channel a team, my team, they call themselves the collective. And I feel like we can bring through some channeling on this if you would like. But that's the trust is such a big thing. Developing trust and self-trust is a major part of it. You're so right on about that. Of course, there's aspects of what when we do the inner work, which some of that we've mentioned, part of your more of your psychic and intuitive gifts come online as you clear these chakra centers, especially third eye, activating pineal and pituitary gland, and developing the capacity to, because that's your third eye, your pineal and pituitary gland, and decalcifying that, clearing out that chakra center, developing your capacity to feel extremely comfortable in different brainwave frequencies. Because, of course, we've been primarily functioning as humans in a beta brainwave frequency. And we have to get very comfortable accessing different frequencies because consciousness in our team, they're not operating at a beta brainwave frequency. They're at a different energetic vibration. So we have to access that, learn to access it and develop it. And self-trust gets cultivated through that experience. So one of the biggest things is to start realizing that, you know, old paradigm, take a pill. Everything will be fixed overnight. New paradigm, exploring, pioneering, and bringing through an ongoing practice that is meant to be fun and enjoyable so that we can develop these intuitive gifts. We're not meant to misuse them or abuse them. We're meant to use them in the highest light. So to me, they go hand in hand with as we develop our spiritual gifts. Now, spiritual gifts, you can be psychic and intuitive and not have any spiritual, not really be spiritual necessarily at all. You can be a tarot card reader, an astrologer, an animal communicator, and not be spiritual at all. Or you could just sort of dabble in it. So as you do more spiritual work, and that's the work we're talking about, spiritual work is where you're really developing yourself. You're healing and resolving through the energy work. So it comes online. Self-trust is developed and cultivated because you are committed, dedicated to your own growth and practice. Because you make a choice to your own self and say, I am going to dedicate myself to becoming the best version of me that I can. And so as you do that, as you honor your agreements to your own self, as you do your best to follow what you're getting, even if it's wrong sometimes, like even if guidance tells you, okay, don't do that thing or do that thing and you don't do it or whatever, you're pursuing it. You say, okay, I did my best. I really did my best. That's part of how you develop this self-trust. And even when you make mistakes, if you're doing it, if you're following to the best of your ability, and your intention is always to cause zero harm to the best of your ability. See, that's a guiding force for me. Zero harm to myself or anyone else. You develop self-trust. It's not a pill that gets handed out. It's something you cultivate and develop. So would you like to hear from the collective? Because they would like to come through.
Oh, that would be so great. Thank you.
Okay, so just give me a moment to sort of get out of my major beta brainwave. Okay, greetings and blessings. So we are here, and it is our great pleasure and great honor to share on this day and to elaborate on the conversations that we are all enjoying so much. And we would like to first identify ourselves. We speak through this one here and identify as the collective, but let us get a little more clear for all of you so that you can know. We are a collective group of beings. Some of us come, some of us go. We are called to this one. When she speaks and shares, we identify as beings who serve the light. And when we say the light, we could also say, in this case, the one true source, the original source of all that is. And we would like to elaborate as well on the light. And that is which, the light is that which expands consciousness in your physical earthly realm for all of humanity, for all of Earth, for all of your solar system, for all of the galaxy, and beyond, through all the multi-dimensional aspects of your reality. So we serve the light through service to Source, through the desire to expand consciousness, and the desire to liberate humanity and all of your existence in all of these multidimensional realms of as we have mentioned, to liberate those parts, those aspects that have been stuck or blocked. Now, let us just slightly define as well that which we referred to the dark, which is nothing necessarily to be fearful of, but to recognize that it is that which seeks to control or to dominate or to manipulate or to keep small, stuck, or blocked or limited, to remain or to even extinguish the expansion of consciousness. So you see, yours, all of you, is the free will choice between the two. Yours is the free will choice to navigate, to make the choices, to either expand or to contract, to either up level or to remain in the same frequency bandwidths where you have existed up until now. And in every now moment, you always have a choice. So now let us elaborate on your conversation, which you have been entertaining and enjoying here. And that is this: there is no being on earth who would freely choose, who could freely choose to expand, to, as you say, raise your vibration or elevate into more and greater light. There is no being who could choose that, or who would choose that would be denied it. Not one of you. If you choose it, it will be permitted, of course, for that is the will of the divine for you. The will of the divine for you is that you have the free will choice to choose, and that in choosing the light, choosing to expand, in that in choosing, you as an individual free will choice being will expand, and therefore, by definition of expansion, will be more and more elevated into the greatness of who you are, into all of your intuitive gifts, into all of the talents and abilities that are uniquely appropriate for you, meant for you as a unique individual. They will never be denied if you choose it. Now, that is not to say that you will not find experiences along the journey, such as frustration or some degree of challenge, for those are the very hurdles or obstacles you must either break through or somehow overcome or somehow transcend, so that you can continue to expand and up level. And we would like you to know that through every breakthrough, there is more light that feeds through you, not feeds, nourishes through you, nourishes you and expands you and brings you into the gifts that you so seek, your greatest talents and abilities. And you may be a painter, an artist, a musician, or any infinite number of things that you choose to bring through on this earth, into this earth realm. And those gifts that you have, they will astound you. You will be in awe of your own brilliance, your own magnificence, for those are the gifts you are meant to bring through. There is no struggle when it comes through you, because it is the divine revealing itself as you, in you, and through you. So no one will be denied this. You all have it, and yours, each of you as individuals, is only the job. Your job is only the job to explore how the divine will reveal itself through you, and what the divine chooses to reveal through you and to express through you, and to invite the divine. And we are using the word divine. However, our choice is the word source. What that divinity chooses to express through you. You see, for as you are all up leveling into this new paradigm you are discussing today, you are choosing of your own free will choice to engage in a reality where the divine becomes part of the game, where the divine is no longer somehow separate from you, but is revealing itself through you in everyone, everything, everywhere. And that your new paradigm, as you used these words earlier, becomes a game of the divinity playing itself in all aspects everywhere. So your job then, and we will reference the self-trust that you were earlier discussing, your job is simply to engage more and more with the divine and the divinity within your own self, to seek all of those aspects of your own self that you feel or believe or perceive are blocking you or limiting you from the divine coming through you. This is the spiritual practice. And as you do that, self-trust becomes a game between you and your source. It just becomes an aspect of you saying, Source, help me to trust you even greater, even better, in ways that are so fully in alignment with your will for me, that you allow the divine to will itself through you. And that is how more and more self-trust will be garnered, for it is, of course, needless to say, within you as well. The whole of you has all that you are, all that you need, all that you will ever need, all that will ever be required of you. And yes, you may still require food or substance or monetary forms of exchange or trade, etc. There may be various things you will need in the physical earthly realm, but have no doubt of this, for it is absolute and truth, that whatever you need in the physical realm will be always provided to you and for you as you are unified with your source, and as you learn, and we hesitate on this word learn because really it is a word we would choose, remember. As you remember and realign yourself with your source, you will be remembering that which you refer to as manifesting. For from the infinite within you, the source within you, you can call to you anything you need at any moment in time, as simple as dropping into alignment with your source and simply saying, I call this to me now, and releasing and letting go and knowing it is done and it will be done. For this is the fastest form of manifestation that you will ever know, by simply unifying with your source through, yes, your sacred heart center, which you referred to earlier, and deeply coming into that oneness and literally asking, calling it to you and knowing you can do this. You will be able to do it as you continue to cultivate your connection with your source. And this is why it was said earlier and continues to be absolutely true, that your journey is a development of unification with your source, a spiritual practice and process that will never be denied to any soul, any human, any animal who lives and dwells in the physical world. We hope this has been most helpful to you, and we are available for other questions as well if you so choose.
This is so comforting. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. You, the collective, are psychic, because as you were sharing this beautiful, I'm going to call it a transmission, there were questions that come up, and they came up, but they were answered so beautifully. And so our manifestation powers are from this cultivation to our source. And you've said it all. And the divine is part of the game, and it will reveal itself to us as we make the choice of light. So my next and last question would be higher consciousness. Can you talk a little bit about higher consciousness? Is that more of a multidimensional consciousness? Is it the connection to source consciousness? And maybe share what we need to do to get out of our own way to let that come through, this higher consciousness.
Yes, it is our great pleasure and honor to continue with you here. We would also like to elaborate just a bit on the manifestation principle. However, we will first address your question of higher consciousness. Higher consciousness is simply the languaging that is referencing frequency bandwidths beyond the frequency where any individual is referencing from at any point in time. So in other words, at any point in time and space, any being is residing at a particular frequency. And that frequency is their level or bandwidth of consciousness at that moment and time in time and space. Higher consciousness is then therefore the consciousness that exists beyond their frequency at that point in time and space. And because consciousness is infinite, there is always higher consciousness. There is always consciousness beyond any other point in time and space. And so your job as an individual with free will choice, if you so choose it, is to continue to seek higher consciousness while also remaining in unity and oneness with the consciousness where you reside at any point in time and space. Now, to answer your question or to address your question, which you posed, how do we seek higher consciousness or what do we need to do? It is simply this: to recognize that between any consciousness frequency bandwidth and the next frequency bandwidth of higher consciousness, there is typically what could be referred to as a frequency fence. That frequency fence is just the energetic fence or the energetic frequency that one must move beyond energetically in consciousness to get to, or to expand into, or to up level into the next frequency bandwidth of higher consciousness. So imagine it, if you will, as a rainbow of light that surrounds you in circumference or diameter. Let us say that is better, a better wording. Diameter all around you. For you, in truth, are a frequency of consciousness like a rainbow of light in diameter equal to, you could say, as large as a building, 55 feet in diameter. That is your consciousness as an individuated being. And of course, goes beyond that, that 55 feet in diameter all around you, the identification of who you are as a personality self, because it is infinite. But you as an individuated being, you see, so you are expanding beyond, into, and even potentially beyond this 55 feet in diameter that you are as a conscious being. And all of these frequencies of light and sound and consciousness radiating out all around you are different frequencies of consciousness. And every time you expand, you reach into and expand into and up level into higher consciousness. And each time you do, you must move beyond and, in a sense, welcome the frequency fence that you must transcend. The frequency fence for you will be you, whoever you are as a unique individual, will be identified as some form of resistance that you must integrate. And this is what is referred to as energy healing. That is what is referred to. It is not the only language, but it is an applicable language to refer to expanding into higher consciousness. At each frequency bandwidth, you garner as an individual greater gifts, expanded consciousness, higher consciousness, and greater frequencies of light and sound, which also include more and more gifts, talents, and abilities that are of the light that will serve you in God's plan of lighted creation. May we elaborate on the piece about the manifestation with your permission?
Yes, and I just want to interject and say how comforting this is. We are reaching for higher consciousness. We are choosing higher consciousness and that perspective. It feels wonderful. And please share on manifestation.
We are so grateful that this has been comforting and helpful. Yes, regarding manifestation, many humans in your physical world are of the belief that in order for them to manifest something into reality, they must envision it and see it somehow and somehow perceive it. And what they neglect to realize when they are doing this or attempting to do this is that they are actually interfering, because they are using their free will choice to attempt to call forward something to them that they believe is somehow separate from them. And it is not a wrong practice. We are not making it wrong. We are simply saying that it is a very slow practice, that it is not necessarily necessary. For as you come into alignment with your higher consciousness, and as you go through the practices, some of which we have elaborated on and others which have not been fully elaborated on, but you are coming into learning more about, as you become more and more of the truth of the multidimensional consciousness that you are, and as you are more and more fully with your source and embody your source more and more through your own spiritual practices, you will come to know that all you need to do is as simple as come into vibrational harmony and resonance with your source, which you are doing right now in this moment through this transmission, and simply ask and know. And asking is not a questioning, a begging. It is more of a petitioning and saying, Source, this is something I am choosing now, and I am having it. And I am expressing gratitude to the infinite all that is, for it is with me here now, as all things are. And I gratefully receive, accept, and allow it into my physical world. Thank you. And a knowing that it is done and that that is good enough, for you are in vibrational resonance with all that is. It is that simple. There is no envisioning required. There is no wait time required other than allowing, you see. So one must cultivate the art of allowing. For allowing is coming into resonance with the divine timing of the material plane. Allowing is making the space for knowing that it is done, and knowing that the physical earthly plane moves slower in terms of time and space, for there is time and space and distance in the physical earthly plane. But in the now moment of any individual being in unification with their source, there is no time and no space. So simply allowing knowing, and allowing for the divine timing of the thing that was requested to materialize. You see, there is no visioning required. There is no pleading. There is no begging. There is simply a request, a knowing, and an allowing. It is that simple. And it can be instant. Now, let us elaborate one final piece on this, for we are aware that many people, most people listening, are not yet ready. They have not achieved just yet. They have not alchemized enough in their own space, and that is okay, for that is what you are here or all here for. But we are in the knowing that many people are not yet in that space. So with that, we would like to offer you one other fun and enjoyable way to manifest that which you desire most with minimal effort and close to zero worry or doubt or wonder. It is like this. And wonder is a good tool, but let us utilize it this way. Yes, let us express it this way. That when you desire something to manifest itself into physical world, to actualize into physical reality, simply begin to think about it with joy, with excitement, with enthusiasm. So think about the thing you desire and mark it in your mind as a point in physical time and space. So, for example, you would like to make new friends, or you would like to buy a new house, or move into a new home, or get a new job, or whatever it is you desire. And begin to think about it. And every time you think about it, rather than worry or wonder that it is not possible for you, simply think about what you would like to have and think about it with excitement. Add the energy of excitement or enthusiasm or wonder from a positive point of view. I wonder how good it could be. I wonder how exciting it could be. I wonder how magnificent it could be. That kind of thing. Attach the energy of excitement, of enthusiasm, of optimism. And if you are not used to playing with those energies, for they are energies, simply breathe them in. Breathe in the energy of divine excitement. Breathe in the energy of divine enthusiasm. You need not know what that energy is, just simply call it to you, for you are a free will being creating, co-creating in this experience. So breathe in the energy, think about the thing that you are excited about, put it out in a point in time and space. For example, within the next 3 months, within the next 6 months, it's set within the next year, because linear time will allow for that thing that you are desiring to come into your physical earthly plane. And you will not be sitting and wondering and doubting and worrying if it will happen. You will simply be thinking about something that you enjoy or excited about at some future point. And that enjoyment, that excitement, that enthusiasm will be the energy that cuts through all physical planes of existence and carries you to that experience that you are desiring, regardless of what it is. So this is a very easy way to manifest for yourself that will transcend physical time and space until you get to yourself into a space where you can do it so instantly, as we had described earlier. We hope this has been helpful, and we are available for questions, or we recognize your experience of the limitation of time and space. And if you feel complete, that is as well acceptable.
Well,
Either way, it has been our great pleasure and honor to contribute on this day.
we thank you so much deeply from our hearts, because we are energized. We are feeling empowered with that. Thank you, collective. This feels complete, and we are deeply grateful and excited. Thank you. Wow. You know, that is a beautiful example of the energy of raising our vibration, of choosing to direct our attention to that which brings us joy. And this is very exciting, because we can each feel the power that we have. This is from within us. And I loved everything the collective said. Thank you. I resonating with the frequency, reaching for the frequency, choosing the frequency, understanding the frequency fence, and just being at peace with all of it. I can really sense how this is like a muscle that we get stronger at. And so anything that comes up, any of the triggers that may come up or the old patterns, we're going to move through those so much faster than without this. So really extremely powerful today. Thank you. I'm excited. I'm
Yeah.
so happy. I hope everyone is feeling this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you so much. I love working with the collective. I've been cultivating my channeling abilities over the many years. And I just I love when they come through because I always feel they're definitely you said that at some point. I don't know when because I'm a little altered still, but the transmission that comes through does so much like uplifting. So I feel it too. And I always feel more expanded as well. And always
Uh,
so grateful for that
we,
experience. Yeah.
yes. You know what? No process needed. We are expanded.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
And
just the only other thing too, I just would say is like, that's what I mean. You get into those energetic states and you feel expanded. That's something amazing has happened and that somehow you have been expanded through the transmission type of experience. It's not hard work, it's not mundane. You're learning, you're growing, you're expanding. And then the one thing is like when you are going through those really tough times where something shadowy, some kind of challenge or emotional upset or trauma or relationship, challenge is coming up, that's the time to go to an energy worker who really knows. That's why I do this work because I know those energies, those traumas and things are not the truth of who that person is at that time. That's not the truth of who they are. That's just the energetic that unique soul is working to move through. So that's when you go to a third party healer or light
yeah.
worker or intuitive, someone who knows that they're there to be of service to you, to help you move that energy as quickly and easily and gracefully as possible. So you don't have to endure the suffering of it. And so you can just get those gifts you're meant to receive and move on to that next frequency. So yeah,
Yes.
good stuff.
Thank you for reminding us of that because so many of us are like, okay, I got this. I can do it on my own. And while that is correct, we can, when we're dealing with the subconscious mind and some of these things that we're so deep in the trenches that we may not recognize certain things that are pointing the obvious to a third party, it really helps to have that someone facilitate this for us. So that's really beautiful. And so, yeah, I would say an energy worker, energy healer is equivalent to a body worker, like a chiropractor or a massage therapist. This work is equally important to do for ourselves. And so it just really does help to have that.
Yeah.
And
I don't
say,
want to be disempowering. I know we're wrapping, but I just what you just said is so important. I don't want to be disempowering to people because of course it's within us. But I think that this idea that people try to do it on their own, I have
it'll take years.
so many people try to do it on their own and you can't because you're in your vibrational bandwidth.
Ah,
I
yes.
just I just I've had so many I have so many friends who are light workers. Like all of my friends are in this. And I
Yeah.
see them and they'll say things to me like, well, they just felt like they could do it on their own. And I'll be like, years, they'll go through years and
Years.
you can't. And I'll say that the area that I've gone for help is like business, marketing, leadership. In the last couple of years, I invested in a massive business marketing program because my whole professional career, I just was doing it on my own, all my business work. And until I got into that program, I did not realize I spent 20 years in business trying to do it all on my own. And how much I would have done so much better in my business if I had gone to a business marketing coach sooner, because that was the area I was lacking in. That was the area that I didn't know. the best. Like you need coaching, you need support. The biggest mistake that humans make in this world, in my opinion, the biggest mistake we make is not getting ourselves the help and support that we need and thinking that we can do it all on our own. And it is the slowest road, because this is the last thing I'll say, because I know we have to wrap. Ascension overall, whether you call it ascension, whether you call it evolution, whatever, however, the evolution of humanity, God's plan, I know this from my own team, from my own guidance, beyond a shadow of a doubt, requires us to recognize how much we need one another. And
Yeah.
there's no way we can do this alone. So wherever you're struggling, whatever it is, because I struggled in business and marketing, whatever it is, wherever your area of struggle is, get yourself the help and support you need from someone who's already excelling in that area, already has reached some degree of mastery in that area.
Yes. Thank you for sharing on that because that is so important. And again, it accelerates our journey and we don't have to do it alone. Okay, I love it. I love it. And we feel expansive. So, this is a perfect opportunity to share how people can work with you. You are this incredible intuitive multidimensional channel. And so personal sessions that you assist people with is something that will allow people to accelerate their journey, their ascension journey so much faster, to move through things that they may not be able to see. What happens in sessions with you? Can you share that? And then I'm going to direct everyone watching and listening to scroll down on this webpage and check out Lori's offer for sessions. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, when someone works with me, it's really entirely what they want to work on, what they're saying. Like that's the first thing I do is I just ask, what's going on for you? What are you struggling, challenged with, or what are you trying to achieve, or what is your desire? We start from there because their soul's divine agenda is speaking through them. So we just find out what's their urgent need, what's their urgent desire or want, what's most important to them at this time. And then we just unpack that from there and we get guidance on what's right and appropriate for their course. And I can find that in a gazillion ways. There's a bazillion ways, but it's always about what's most important for any individual. And we'll check in, like a lot of times I'll do channeling for them. What is it that their soul wants, or what is it that their higher self wants, or what is it that their team is trying to bring through for them? Sometimes it's about their animals. What does their animal want? It might be what's in their records. We didn't talk about the records today, but it's always about the individual. What does that individual want, need, or desire? What is their soul calling, or what do they feel is blocking them or limiting them? Whatever it is that's most urgent to them, that's where we start. What their dreams are, their hopes, dreams, and desires, and how can they get there. Sometimes we're laying out a roadmap. Like that is one of the biggest things I've been working on, is just like, how do we lay out a roadmap for this person to follow so that they can know? Because that's why so many people feel lost. They're like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do, where I'm supposed to begin. I just know I just want to make a difference in the world. I just know I want to make an impact. I just know I want my life to matter. There's so many people, amazing people in the world like that right now. Their soul is calling. So sometimes we're just helping them to lay out a roadmap so that they can say, okay, I might not know every right and appropriate next step, but I know the next right and appropriate next steps. And I have a big picture and a long range, and I get the overall guidance and trajectory. Sometimes we're doing that. It depends on what's right and appropriate. So that's part of what I'm offering in this package. And of course, they'll also get, they'll also get a live coaching call with me so that they get the coaching support guidance, right? They get to get a private little inquiry call with me, then they get a live group call with me. And then they'll also get in this package a DNA activation from our most recent DNA activation call. That's a replay, MP3, but they'll be able to listen to that and get that has class teachings and then the actual meditation and activation. And there's a lot of channeling from the collective in there to share about what's ahead for humanity. That recording was just done on the Lionsgate, the 888 triple Stargate. So that portal energy came through to help everyone up level. So there's DNA activations in there, and they'll learn how to activate their DNA in that call as well. So really great stuff in there, and the foundational stuff you need. So yeah, that's what we're offering today.
That is so beautiful. And so there's some options and bonuses for people to look at, and it's really exquisite. Thank you for that. Oh my goodness. So please check that out, everyone. If you're watching us on YouTube, you can see in the description box a link to Lori's special offer. Otherwise, just scroll down on this page and see all of the beautiful gifts and items in this offer. Lori, thank you so much for this. You're doing incredible work.
That's our
Wow.
you. That's our you. Yes.
And again, I just want to remind everyone of this elation that we feel. And so the collective helped us raise our vibration just by listening. And that is really important to know too, that when we listen to uplifting information or are even in the presence of higher vibrational people, as you've said, it lifts us up, and we can see how important that is for the entire collective on this planet. And so I want to commend those who are watching and thank you and the collective, because as that happened to us today, look at how we've helped the world shift as this radiates out. It's spectacular in my mind. I love it. It's why we do what we do forever, for
Yeah.
always.
Thank you so much, Loren. Thank you for today, and thank you for your brilliance and your light, and just your summit, your whole series gone for so long, so many years. You've been just doing so much amazing work, and I'm grateful to be here and reconnect with you. It's so lovely and wonderful, and glad that we had this time to share today.
Oh, yes. Thank you for the beautiful messages that you've shared and the information. And we will have you back on some other summit series that get really interesting. Thank you so much, Lori. And thank you everyone for watching. Namaste. Thank you for listening to this quantum conversation, and thank you for dancing with us to the cosmic heart. As we raise our own vibration, we raise the vibration of the planet. This show is dedicated to you and all awakening hearts, as we are here to shine our bright light and amplify our love. I'm Loren Gailey, and from my sacred heart to yours, I honor your magnificent love and light. This has been a presentation of New Earth One Network, your home for New Earth living. Access information, education, and videos on living from the heart in unity consciousness. Visit newearth1.com.